everybody, and welcome to the Katie Weaver Show. This is Katie. I'm your host. I'm live. We'll probably be a pretty small crew today because I am going live while 1 2 Radio is still pretty much officially shut down for the holiday. But I don't know. I don't like being gone that long. You guys don't like me being gone that long. So we're here. So I am live. I am happy to be here. And I'm happy to see you guys coming into the chat room. So if you are live, it is the 31st. It's New Year's Eve at about 11 a.m. Pacific time. So welcome to all of you. I hope you guys had a wonderful Christmas and that we're moving into a good break for everybody, or a good New Year for everybody. But I hope your break was amazing. I have way too many windows open. Let's see. Besides doing this show, it's a really big true crime day for me, so I've got a lot of true crime stuff pulled up that I don't want to close because, well, I'm going to need it. At any rate, welcome, and I hope that you had a good holiday. Uh, phew, we did. Oh my goodness, you guys, we have ran our legs off. When my kids come home, there is no rest for. This is what my mom used to say when I was a kid. She said, "There's no rest for the wicked, and the righteous don't need any." Well, I don't know if I'm the righteous or the wicked, but by God, I need some rest. So the kids all came home on Christmas Eve. The girls came home first, and Micah joined us a little later after he got off work. And we hosted Christmas Eve, and it was fun. We always have our whole crew, but Scott's dad and stepmom didn't have plans for Christmas Eve, which is rare because usually she has a huge family that is around, but they didn't do Christmas Eve this year, so they came, which was really nice, and we had fun. I love putting on the Christmas Eve event. I like doing that, and we like to do it all. Because usually with my family, I mean, we have a family dinner weekly, and everybody takes an assignment and helps bring the food and things. But for Christmas Eve, it's kind of part of my gift to my sisters. I really like to just handle it all so that they don't have to worry about Christmas Eve at all. Just bring yourself. That's it. It's all you got to do. And also because, we really like to cook and entertain. And someday maybe I'll have a house that is more supportive of that. But for now, we're just doing the best with what we've got. That's how it always is, right? So at any rate. So Scott smoked a huge brisket and then made burrito out of it. So this meat smoked for like 12 hours and then it cooked for another 12 hours in the burrito. And it was fantastic. And so he made burrito tacos, burrito street tacos. I made elote corn, like Mexican street corn. And Mars made my famous Mexican rice and or Spanish rice. And then it was all awesome, but the I also did a signature cocktail that was so fun. So I saw these cocktails. They called them. I took pictures. I should have pulled them up. The recipe that I saw, they called them snow globes. So they had these little cups that were like for a tort. You know what I mean? Like they're tall and wide. They weren't very big, but so you have these little cups, and then you put cranberries in the bottom of them, and then put a little sprig of rosemary right in the center, which you have to poke it right into the sprig. I learned the hardest of ways. but And then you put just a little bit of white cranberry juice or grape juice in that and freeze it so that you have the base for it. And then I put a little bit of edible gold glitter I sprayed onto all of it too. So then you freeze that, and then when your guests come, you pull these out and you fill them with sparkling wine, and it's like a snow globe. You can see your little Christmas tree in the middle, your rosemary, which by the way didn't affect the taste of the drink in any way. And then you've got your little cranberries, and as it melts, then the cranberries are floating around, and it was so cute. But to buy those cups, because I needed to just buy in plastic, I don't have room for 25 big glass cups, and also no real need for them. So I bought littler plastic ones, but a set of plastic ones was going to be 50 cups. So I'm like, okay, what else could I do with these cups that would be fun? So I came up with the idea that we would do a tort bar, kind of like a parfait bar, right? So I bought a whole bunch of different kinds of fillings and made some like vanilla pudding, chocolate pudding. I made a vanilla cake and a chocolate cake and cubed them up and put them in bowls. We whipped a huge bowl of whipped cream and just laid them out so that you could put whatever you wanted. So maybe you did like chocolate pudding and chocolate cake and cherry pie filling and whipped topping, or whipped cream, or there was a million different combos. I think my favorite was the vanilla cake with uh, the lemon curd and blueberry pie filling and whipped cream. Anyway, that was a huge hit. People loved that. And they weren't very big, so you could really go back a few times and make different combos if you wanted to. Some of our bigger boys, I think, went back like 4 or 5 times. I'm like, listen, I don't want any leftovers, so eat this. At the end of the night, I put out some bigger solo cups and I'm like, hey, if you loved this, make one for the road, take it home with you. So some of the, especially like the boys, made great big ones to take home with them, which was cool because I didn't want a bunch of leftovers because that's a lot to store. Anyway, that turned out so good, you guys. So, anyway, Christmas Eve was awesome. We did our annual joke off, which is basically a game where you're supposed to come with some of your own jokes, or if not, we have a game that you can pull cards from that has jokes. And the jokes in that game are hysterical. But then we had four people sit across from each other. It's rounds of four, and you go around and tell your jokes. So for the first two rounds, you can smile, but you can't laugh. If at any point you laugh, whether you're telling your own joke or you're laughing at someone else's joke, you're out. So each group of four gets narrowed down to one as people tell their jokes, and then those, the winners of that, all, you know, battle each other until you get a winner. So our niece Charlotte won this year. I went out first round. I always do. I can't not laugh. It's just too funny. And I hate to admit this, but every year it's at my own damn joke. So I super suck, but it's okay. The joke off is fun. We added a white elephant gift game this year. Mars wanted to do. And that was actually so much fun. The rule was you couldn't buy it. It either, well, you could, but you had to thrift it. So you either had to thrift it or it just needed to be something you already had. Holy cow. It was so fun and funny. Some of the stuff people thrifted was some of the weirdest shit I've ever seen. That was really fun. I think we'll do that again. So, anyway, just all in all, Christmas Eve was really fun. We had a big group, 25 here in my itty bitty house, but we made it work. People are generous and kids sit on the floor, and it's how it works. Yep, a lot of fun. And then Christmas Day, we went to Kara's. That's what we always do. And she has the biggest house. It works. I feel sorry for her for always having to host Christmas because it's not that we don't all help, of course, but we did a feast this year. We did an Italian feast, and it was amazing. Scott made a big lasagna, and there was a lot of other stuff that went with that. And Kara made her famous fettuccine alfredo and so on and so forth. And it was awesome. It was really fun. So, yeah, I have nothing but good things to say about Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. It was great. And then the day after Christmas, the kids wanted to go thrifting. And I'm like, dear God, you haven't had enough shopping yet? Apparently they had not. But I 10 out of 10 had. So I stayed home and rested. But then we did go to the next day. We went to a Japanese steakhouse and went to Moana 2, which was very cute. And then that night we got together with my sisters and their spouses and went to a pub. We were supposed to go to a new speakeasy that just opened, but we had a problem with our reservation and ended up not being able to go there. But it was cool. We went to a little Irish pub that we'd also never been to downtown, and so it was fun. It was great. So, yeah, that's what I got. And oh well, and then the next day we went swimming and then went to a little Christmas post Christmas gathering at Scott's sister's house. So yes, I'm still tired. I'm definitely still recovering. My God, these guys are. It's a lot. When the girls were ready to go home on Sunday, I'm like, well, see ya. It's a lot, but it was good. It was great. So, we are hosting New Year's Eve tonight. We always host New Year's Eve, but it's usually just like the six of us, my sisters and their spouses, and occasionally we have a kid with us, but typically it's just a smaller group. Our friends Sandra and Nell sometimes come, and we're just a littler group, and it's really nice. It's fun to cook for six. So, Scott's making homemade pizza tonight with a recipe that he's been using lately that was awesome, and that's that's it. So yeah, so that'll be good. But it's also the Boise State playoff game in football. So for us, that's a huge deal because we're big Boise State fans. So we're gonna do all of that. But before that, I really wanted to do a show and come hang out with you guys. Yeah. Hey, Jim. Oh, nice coincidence. He's in Ireland. Visited an Irish pub. I will tell you, Jim, the pub itself was cute. I couldn't figure out what in there was Irish about it, except for the name and the big four-leaf clover on the door. It was nice though, and our service was so good. Our server was absolutely darling. So I was all about it, but one too is on sabbatical, Jane, for sure. I don't like to miss more than 1 week in a row. It feels wrong. So I do have some pictures of some of our Guinness. Yeah, maybe they were serving. They probably were. I don't drink beer, so I drank two mules. I can't remember. It wasn't a Moscow mule. I can't remember what it was called. They were really good though. But I want to show you some of the things we made this year. So Scott has been making these awesome heads. So what the hell are they, you're wondering? They're 3D printed and then they're hand painted. They mount on the wall for you to put your headphones on. So for all these gamer kids, they're awesome because they mount them on the wall near their gaming station and then they can hang up their headphones. Because I don't know if you know this, but those headsets get really freaking expensive. So you want to take really good care of them. Also, they just turned out really good. So this is what we did for all the boys in the family this year. So they all got a head. So there's a mummy, that's the wolf, this is the T-Rex, Slimer for my nephew Stone, who I knew would love that, and he did. Slimer, the pictures, they don't always do the best justice, but the Slimer paint job was so good. And then the alien. Yeah, oh, the kids loved those. They turned out really good. So I did do some glass. So we did some of these stained glass angels ornaments for some aunts and grandmas. These guys it's kind of fun. I bought some vintage china in Boise at a vintage shop there, and then I chopped it up on my saw into these little pieces and used that for the centerpiece so that I would get the skirt, so that her skirt would be the china. I thought they turned out pretty cute. And then we did for my stocking stuffers. I made these swizzle sticks. That's all of them. They're right after they came out of the kiln and were washed. Then they have to soak in vinegar for a while to get all the kiln paper stuff off of them. So that's what they all looked like together. But this is what it looked like by itself. So they were these little tubes. They looked like test tubes except for they were flat on the bottom. So I layered them with hot chocolate mix and crushed candy canes and chocolate chips and these little tiny dehydrated marshmallows. And then I just tied a swizzle stick to each one of them. So that's what I put in stockings this year. And then I made several for us too. But those turned out really cute and fun. I would definitely make more of those. I'll probably make more of those and make sets of them and put them on Etsy. Uh, this bowl was for my mother-in-law, Scott's stepmom, Rhonda, uh, who's one of the most lovely humans in the world. And I was so excited with the way this turned out. This was a 14-inch cut of glass. So if that gives you an idea of the size of it. So it's not huge, but I made two bowls. I had this idea that I'd make two bowls, and whichever one I loved the most, I'd probably give to Rhonda, and then the other one I would keep. Or maybe I'd give them both to her, or I didn't know. But I had the ideas for two. The other bowl I made 26 glass pine cones for that bowl that went around the outside. It took me an entire weekend to make all those freaking pine cones. So I put the pine cones around the outside, and then I made little red berries that went all over, and then I cut up really thin green glass to make pine needles. That sucker blew up in the kiln. And it blew up in the kiln at about 3:30 in the morning. It sounded like a gunshot ran through this house. It was crazy. So that was super sad. but but this one turned out really beautifully. So yeah, so this is the bowl that went to Rhonda, but I really loved the way it turned out. All the little cute bluebirds and yeah. So I made the tree first and or the branches and that, to put a tree together and then decided I was going to put birds in it, so then I cut the birds and anyway, I'm getting better, right? My glass skills from last year to this year are getting better. But I also really wanted to do a little bit of stained glass this year, which is something that is brand new to us, besides, the angels. And so I made two pieces, and they were a collab with Scott and myself. So this was for Kara. This is from the book series that she and I have both been reading, the A Court of Thorns and Roses, the ACOTAR series. This is a representation of the city of Starlight. So I like that one so much I made myself one too. And I'm excited about it. I love the way it turned out. I also gave her, I really wanted to do experiences this year, a little bit more than just stuff. My God, we all have stuff. We have so much freaking stuff. So I wanted to do something that wasn't just stuff. So I gave that to Kara, but I also gave her a concert ticket. We're going to take a girls' trip. I'm going to need my head examined, but we're going to go to Utah in July. My God. To an outdoor concert. Yes, please send help already. Help to examine my head. What am I thinking? But it's the Indigo Girls are her favorite band and have been since she was in high school. So the Indigo Girls along with Melissa Etheridge. Hold on, I'm going to shut my office door. So anyway, this is what I gave her along with the ticket to that concert, and we're all going to go. For Christy, I made her this capybara. I know it's wild. She loves capybaras, like loves capybaras. She feels about capybaras about the same way that I do about crows or otters. You guys, I found a place in Tacoma, Washington that's an indoor exotic petting zoo, and you can pay to have a one-on-one experience with a capybara. So that's what I gave her. So you see how sly I am? I set the stage for two girls' trips next year by finding experiences. I also bought Scott tickets to an aquarium in Salt Lake that I know he's going to love, that I have visited, but he hasn't been to. So now I get to take three trips. No. Sneaky, right? Tricky. Just kidding. It's probably fine. But anyway, so that's some of the stuff we made. That's really all the stuff we made. Everything else was not. I did these really cool watercolor sets that I saw online. I never quit creating and doing stuff, sometimes to my detriment, but and definitely to the detriment of my bank account. But that's kind of just a part of what I do. But I notice in my family a lot of my counterparts they're just busy working, which is life. But I wanted to give them more opportunities to be creative. So I bought these paint sets that they're watercolors, but they're these really shimmery, glittery paints that move with the water in a way that's just like mesmerizing. So I bought those and sets of brushes and paint books that were all like ethereal, magical stuff, and gave those to quite a few of my family members this year. And then after Christmas, after we opened our gifts and long before Christmas dinner when we were just hanging out, we sat up at the table and painted. And I'm hoping they just use them for fun. My painting was, I'm not a painter. Nope. but that's not what it's about, right? It's just about the journey. It's about using your hands, doing something interesting. So, anyway, there you have it. That's pretty much it this year. But that's some of the stuff we made and created. So, I felt pretty good about it. I'm really excited about stained glass. I mean, I'm still fusing glass a lot, but man, stained glass is fun with a lot of possibilities. But I will say, on those pieces, I did the design work and the glass work and the foiling, and Scott did the soldering. He, I didn't even try. I was a little afraid of it. At some point, I need to pick it up and do it myself, but he did a pretty good job. And the first piece we soldered, we absolutely destroyed, like ruined. We had to learn some things, and so I didn't really. This wasn't the time to learn some things. Because we finished the capybara 2 days before Christmas. So, at any rate. Oh, Kev said he's painting with acrylic on clay. So much to learn. Who knew climate played a part? Oh, interesting. That is cool. I got what I asked for Christmas was a polymer clay setup because I wanted to. I'm seeing all this cool polymer clay stuff being made on Reels and TikTok. TikTok is, and Reels, they're all my downfall because I see people making all this cool stuff and I'm like, I want to do that too. I mean, probably my fatal flaw is thinking that I just can, but some of it I've picked up pretty good. But it's all a journey. So anyway, I can't wait to get my clay out, Kev. Every day I look at it and go, not today, you have other things to do. But later this week, it's all I'm going to do. Very cool. But I would love to see what you're doing. That's awesome. Super fun. Well, let's pull up Luminous. There's plenty to talk about. Obviously, we're moving into the new year. Oh, these dogs they are just going to be a problem today. I apologize. Every time I shut my office door, Luca comes and digs at it until he gets it open because he doesn't like to not be near me. But we have company that are out in the garage with Scott, and so they keep seeing that there's people outside, and so they want to be out there. And anyway, they're problematic. I'm going to try shutting the door one more time. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Yeah. Yeah, Pluka is already back. Okay. Well, I apologize. Well, Luminous was all about the new year. I mean, we're here. Like it or not, ready or not, the new year is upon us. It's so crazy. So, obviously, I called this edition New Year's Fun. Some of us, or some of you, we might be looking at New Year's with a bit of dread. Our world is a little crazy right now and seems to just be getting crazier. My goodness. For true crime, part of my true crimes work today is for our Patreon account. And my Patreon is the 10 wildest Florida man headlines from 2024. Dear God. Yes, we have all just lost our minds. That's all I can say. I'll just tell you one thing from that article, or from that story I'm featuring, and that's some guy came home, drove in, pulled into his neighborhood, and could see his neighbor laying on the ground, waving his arm, and he pulled up closer and discovered that there was an 11-foot alligator that had this guy's whole leg in his mouth. And so he didn't know what to do to save his neighbor, so he just ran over the alligator with his car and managed to get his neighbor's leg out. Why? I, why? I've no, I mean save the neighbor for sure, but 11-foot alligators just cruising the neighborhood? Florida friends, is this does this happen very often? Is this a thing that you like actually have to think about and worry about? Maybe it depends on where you live. Obviously, it probably does, but tell me, are we looking for alligators around every corner, or is that a myth? Lillian says a lot. Dear God. But also, you guys in the Everglades have a huge problem with snakes now, too, from people who have let their snakes go. And now they're just feasting in the Everglades and getting to be, monstrously huge. It's cruel to the snakes, for one. They're not native, and so now, of course, they have all these people that are have to gather them up, and like it sucks. Yeah, yeah, the snakes, Liliane. My God, and I'm not afraid of snakes at all, but it really sucks that that's happening. Kev said they do end up in pools and sewage systems, and they climb fences. Holy, yeah. Of course, you guys also have the iguana situation, right? Do you have iguanas in the trees and whatnot, and when it gets too cold, they freeze? And then people gather them up and they warm up and wake back up. Okay, then. All right. Well, moving on to New Year's fun. So I wrote an article about the New Year. If you know much about me, you know I'm really not a big fan of New Year's resolutions. I feel like they are most likely to fail because, well, they do, you know. It's because you make some staunch resolution. I'm never eating sugar again. And then tomorrow you eat sugar and then your whole plan is screwed and then it's off the rails, right? I'm a much bigger fan of goals. And I like realistic goals. I like small goals that help get you to the larger goal and things like that. I just think they're more realistic and easier to attain and also are kinder to you because New Year's resolutions can set you up for failure in a big hurry. And who needs that, really? Hmm. So, here's some ideas about moving into the new year of things to look forward to. Because what I was thinking about is that many of us need some things to look forward to. And something that I've really noticed with a lot of my clients is that when life feels a little heavy or a little dark or a little bleak or just a little quiet, like the winter solstice tends to be, um, they really start needing something to look forward to. I think as human beings, we all need something to look forward to. Frankly, I think it's one of the reasons that Christmas has become such a crazy time. I mean, commercially, it's, shoved down our throats too, obviously, the whole holiday experience is. But people need something to look forward to. I also think that that's why when Christmas and New Year's is over, a lot of times we see people get a little depressed because you kind of get dropped flat. I can remember as a kid, we went to girls' camp every year. It was through our church, uh, which is kind of funny to me now. But like one year we got in really big trouble because we brought playing cards. Apparently, face cards were against the rules. Not at my house. Yeah. Well, okay. It wasn't really the face cards as much as it was the gambling that got us in trouble. We were just playing poker with penny candy. I mean, well, anyway. but uh, but we looked so forward to girls' camp, and as the girls that were going, you got to kind of help be a part of planning it. I was in like young women's leadership, so I got to like help plan the events and the meals and do the shopping and like as a teenager, that's cool stuff. Like we got to be pretty involved, and it was awesome. I can remember coming home from camp just feeling so deflated. Not because girls' camp wasn't great, it was, but because it was over. And I think that we just all kind of, unless you just can't wait for the holidays to be over, and some people, I'm sure that's true as well. But point being, I think that we kind of, yeah, okay, fine. It really was the gambling, yeah. But, Uh, but either way, I think this is a good time of year to build some things to look forward to into your repertoire. I think that's what I was trying to get to. Yeah. Fresh opportunities. This year, start looking forward to some fresh opportunities. Could it be your career, relationships, personal growth? A new year means maybe some new doors are waiting to be opened, or maybe they're waiting for you to kick them down, right? But it's a great time right now to start dreaming about what would you like to see for yourself this year in any of those areas. Personal growth. New Year's like planting a garden. You get to decide what seeds you want to sow. Maybe you want to learn a new skill. Maybe you want to prioritize self care. You want to let go of habits that don't serve you. Personal growth is a great place to focus if there's some things that you want to do with yourself, you know? Uh, Again, if you're really happy with where you're at, good, great, more power to you. But if there's some happy, positive changes that you want to make in your life, this is a great time to start thinking about them, especially because right now, uh, it is the winter solstice and it's a little bit more sleepy time. It's a good time for planning. This is a great time to consider. Do you want to take a class this year, learn something new? It's a good time to start thinking about it. All right. This is a good time to start looking forward to moments of joy. Obviously, there's big milestones, you know. Maybe you are going to become a grandma this year, or maybe you already know that you're taking a trip, or that you are graduating from college, or, you have a big milestone. And that's cool, but maybe you don't. The thing is, there are moments of joy every day, frequently. Sometimes that we stop for a moment to engage in, and sometimes we don't, right? I mean, our lives tend to be at a pace sometimes that keep you from really being able to always notice those moments of joy. But I put together a list of ideas of things to maybe consider watching for joys like this year. Watching a sunrise or sunset, laughing until your cheeks hurt, finding a new favorite song and playing it on repeat, receiving a genuine compliment. That's a big one. Can you receive a compliment? Can you receive a compliment with grace, or do you bat it away? And if you can't receive a compliment with grace, this is be a really good time for you to think about why that is and what you want to do to be able to allow yourself to have that. Savoring a perfectly ripe piece of fruit, walking barefoot on soft grass or warm sand, or icy snow. Just kidding, don't do that. Uh, discovering a book that feels like it was written just for you. Hearing the sound of rain while cozy indoors. Smelling fresh flowers or baked goods. Sharing a meaningful conversation with a friend. Spotting a rainbow after a storm. Enjoying a quiet moment with a cup of tea or coffee. Completing a small task that's been on your to-do list forever. It's a big one for me. Seeing a stranger's random act of kindness. That's an amazing feeling. Taking a spontaneous detour and discovering something delightful. I really love that one. I love the idea of just discovering something delightful on accident. Okay. Setting some fun, small goals to consider. Again, this does not have to be enormous. But what about some goals to just spice your life up a little bit, make things a little bit more interesting, make it feel a little more fulfilling? So here's some ideas to inspire you. Try a new recipe each month. My sister gave Scott and I the Yellowstone cookbook. Not Yellowstone the park, Yellowstone the movie. Or the not movie, the TV series. Um, I don't know if you've watched Yellowstone. I don't know if you can stomach watching Yellowstone because it is bloodthirsty. Holy shit. But It's kind of awesome too. So you decide. It's very violent, but we have loved it and talked about it because they watch it and so do we. And anyway, so she bought us the Yellowstone cookbook. So we decided, okay, this year we're going to pull a new recipe every week out of the Yellowstone cookbook and cook it. Because I don't know about you guys, but I get so damn tired of cooking. You know, it's so hard to decide what's for dinner. Who knows? Who even cares? Eat a sandwich. I know a lot of you guys can resonate with this, but when you're empty nesters or you're just cooking for one or two, I'd rather DoorDash. You can't always do that. Scott is an excellent cook, but he gets burned out too. And anyway, try a new recipe each month or each week or whatever you want to do. Start a gratitude journal and jot down 3 things you're thankful for every day. Visit a place in your city or town you've never been before. Even in my little town, I've realized how many little stores and restaurants there are in my town that I've never been to. We get kind of stuck in our ways, you know? Learn to make a new type of coffee or tea. Declutter one small area of your home each week. Whew. Okay, fine. Write a letter to your future self to read next year. Take a photo every day and create a year in pictures album. 365 days of pictures of my pigs and dogs is not that interesting, but I'll try. Commit to a screen free hour each day to recharge. Great time to do some art or a craft of some sort. Grow a plant and watch it thrive. Try a new hobby like painting, knitting, or yoga. Spend a day being a tourist in your own city. I think this is a fun idea because we get very stuck in our ways. We get very stuck in just the same path we go on always to do the things that we do. I think it's kind of a fun idea to look around at your area through a tourist size. I think I'm going to buy a season pass to that little wildlife park that's near me that I've been talking about so much, the one with the foxes and the bears, and I think I might just buy a year pass to it this year so that we can go whenever we want. I really think I'm going to do that. Plan a picnic in a nearby park. Watch a classic movie you've never seen before. I know some people make a goal to watch, as many Academy Award winners as they can. I think that's kind of a fun idea, starting way back. Volunteer for a cause that matters to you. Volunteering is an amazing way to boost your own serotonin, to give you some interesting experiences, to expose you to different kinds of people. It's a really, really good and enriching experience. Make a playlist of songs that make you happy and dance it out. You should always have a playlist of songs that make you happy. Always. And then new connections. New Year's is a chance to deepen existing relationships and make new ones. Be generous with your time and energy, but also protect it. Surround yourself with people who lift you up and inspire you. It's important to do that. I hear from clients all the time saying that they feel like they are struggling with meeting new people, struggling with feeling lonely, struggling with not really feeling like they have much in community, things like that. And I think in our day and age it is a little bit harder than it used to be, but some suggestions I would have for you: to look for some kind of a spiritual gathering that resonates with your soul. For some of you, that could be a church. I mean, do know that there are plenty of churches out there that are non-secular or that just respect all religions. There are spiritualist churches. If any of that resonates with you, do one of those things. At least go check one or two out and see if it's something that you're interested in. Don't join a cult. If you're not sure, ask me. Don't join a cult. God damn it. But look, groups like that can be really, really enriching. Around here, it's been, for my sisters, for the longest time, it was the Unitarian Church. I went with them sometimes. It's in a different town, so we weren't like really like going all the time. But the Unitarian Church had all kinds of interesting things. Like they'd always have a Seder every year, a Jewish Seder. They would always have, they had yoga classes, they had book groups, they had all kinds of gathering type things. And I think a lot of people just we miss that. We need that and don't really have very many avenues for it. So, some kind of a church idea sometimes really works for people. Sometimes it doesn't. And if it doesn't work for you, please don't do that. Uh, Sometimes you can find groups that are more new agey, metaphysical, study groups, book groups. I had a client a few years ago that joined a Toastmasters group and did speeches and really, really enjoyed that. Point being, there are people out there. There are groups that meet. There are opportunities. You just got to find them and also put yourself out there enough to potentially join something. But it's a good time right now to kind of start thinking about what kind of new connections would be good for you. The unexpected. Watch for the unexpected. Do a few things that are unexpected. Always wanted to chop your hair off and dye it purple? By God, do it. Always wanted to get a tattoo and you don't have one? Or you have 12? Go ahead. You always wanted to take a trip? A solo trip somewhere or with a group of somewhere you've never been before? Do that. Do something unexpected. You never know if that's the thing that really fills your cup. The unexpected for me, I'm going to put this out in the universe in a very terrified way. I want to move. I really want to move. It scares the crap out of me to even say it. I have lived in this house since Micah was 12 weeks old. So we have lived here for nearly 25 years. And the thought of moving scares me. The climate of real estate scares me. I mean, my house is worth much, much more than we paid for it, 25 years ago. But I'm still going to pay a lot for something else. And where do I go? And am I in good enough health to even consider trying to move and pack up a house? And I'd have help and it would be fine. But that's an interesting thought. But I've been thinking about it for a while and I really said the words aloud to Scott a few days ago. I said, I want to move. I don't want to live in this house anymore. We have been here for long enough and I want to move. We'll probably still stay in the general area. I don't want to get that far from my sisters. And my kids are still young adults. They all think they're probably going to land in the Boise area, but Mars is still looking at law school in Montana, and I don't know where they'll all be. And so I think that I need to just land where I need to be, right? But I need a much bigger studio space. Scott does too, for art, for glass, for all the things we do. We need a bigger shop. Well, we need a shop. There's a lot of things we need. I want a much nicer gathering space for hosting family and friends. And that pretty much checks all my boxes, to be honest. So I'm not going to move right now. I don't have to move today. But I kind of thought this year, one thing I could be doing is just downsizing a little bit, dejunking, decluttering, thinking about like what in this office or what in this bedroom would I want to pack and take with me and what would I legitimately let go of? And maybe just start doing that. But whew, this Cancer who never changes anything, who hasn't rearranged the living room in 20 years, thinks she's ready to move. So we'll see. I'm sure I'll be telling you all about it if and when the day comes. But I think when you start throwing that out to the universe, those words, that kind of starts, creating the ball rolling. It starts getting something interesting going. So we'll see. Lillian said, "You are singing my song you want to move to, love." I know. JR said, "I'd love to cut my hair shorter and move out." Nice. Jane does too. She said 20 years in March she's been where she's at. So, but she has now 5 upstairs heel walking neighbors, so wanting to move. Yeah. Nope, I hear you. Not due to the neighbors. My neighbors are fine, but yeah. By the way, I had talked a while back about my neighbors who the older lady, the mom had died, and the daughters that lived there. I mean, the daughters are probably in their 50s, but um, they were selling the house, and I was worried that they were going to abandon their cats because their cats are over here all the time eating up all of my crow food, which is fine. I just put out extra for them. I go outside and I call the crow call, and there's no crows this time of year, but there are lots of magpies. So I feed the magpies year round, and then I feed the crows when they're here. But I've really been feeding those cats because they've been around here a lot. And I've been worried that those cats, that they were going to abandon them, and thinking about what I would do if they do, because I cannot bring cats in this house. I can't with my dogs. It's just not a possibility. Also, I've always said I wouldn't have a cat where I live because they're not safe. The roads here are dangerous. And anyway, blah, blah, blah. Long story short, the last daughter moved out on Sunday, and the cats are gone. They are not coming and eating. So she took them. So good. I hope that's all good. I'm really worried about those cats, but I told you guys about them, so I promised I would update. And yeah, so it looks like we're getting new neighbors. So I hope they don't suck. They're not going to suck. They're going to be fine. Celebrating wins. Big or small, every win counts. That's important. It's important to give yourself credit for the things that you do that are great and good and that are good for you. Sometimes it's as small as making that phone call that you've been putting off, or making that appointment that you've been putting off, or sending that letter or paying off that bill. They're all wins. Give yourself credit for that. So, those are just some thoughts about things that you could consider this year to help enrich you. You were put here to thrive, my friends. You were. And you're already thriving. But sometimes I think my job is to help us all continue to seek out more ways to thrive and enrich life. Okay. Kelly's blog this week, her podcast, this is a wrap up of her bitch stories this year. And okay, this killed me. You see this face? She called this Tudor resting bitch face. This was Margaret Beaufort. Tudor resting bitch face. Hilarious. I mean, look at Margaret and think, what kind of bullshit is Margaret absolutely sick of? That kills me just thinking about what's going on there, Margaret? What are you thinking about? Who have you absolutely had it with? I know, I know. Back in those days, a lot of their pictures, the women looked very stern, but then again, maybe they were just fed all the way up. It's a thought. But she had a great article about women. A quote, like she said, that she uses every week: well behaved women never make history. Damn right. We gotta be, you gotta be Margaret here. Anyway, she had a great article and a great podcast to go along with it, so keep an eye on that. My tip this week was a goal sheet. I want to be, I want to start, I want to stop, I want to learn, I want to have. Just some things to think about because, again, just like with me saying I want to move, when you put your stuff out into the universe, you're more likely to bring it back to yourself. So you got to think about it. You got to say the words. You got to go there. And Christie's Kindred Spirit Energy Oracle reading this week is Archangel Ariel. You know, per normal, there's all kinds of crime over at True Crime Squad. You can check that out if you want to. Jamie Dawn, she had a great video last week about celestial wisdom during the winter solstice. And I mean, it certainly still applies, so I included that this week. Lots of meditations over at Planet Meditation. And there you go. That is the last luminous of the year. I mean, it better be. So, whole new luminous next year, new art, I'll try to spiff it up, but that is what's going on there. So, that's what I've got. I'm curious to know what else you guys are thinking about for yourselves for the new year, if anything, and where you see yourself headed. I know we're certainly in a space right now where things feel a little bit uncertain to a lot of people. And that's normal. It's okay. You're safe. I always kind of go back to that old Louise Hay affirmation: I am safe. It's only change. I think there's going to be a change afoot for a lot of us this next year. I didn't do a prediction show this year. I don't know. I just didn't feel really drawn to. However, I do suspect that we're going to see quite a bit of change on the horizon. And I feel like it can be very positive change for many of us. And I don't think change this year has to be a frightening thing in any way. But I do think we're going to see some change. And we're probably going to have to be brave enough to allow some change into our lives and embrace it. We'll see. So I want to remind you that I am a professional psychic advisor over at 12listen.com, and you can find me over there every single day. You can find me doing readings, healings, doing whatever I can to help you guys out in any way that I can. So mediumship, animal communication, I'll do whatever I can to help. So again, that's at 12listen.com. I'm there every day. And if you go over there and you need me and I'm not present, all you have to do is do a callback request or schedule a call. When you do that, I get a text that says, user so and so is, wants to talk to you. So I will make myself available as soon as I can so that I can talk to you. So don't ever feel like you're bothering me. You guys are my extended family, and you're not. I am always here to help you. So let me know if there's anything I can do for you, but it's also my job and career, and so obviously I'm always pushing it out here because this is what I do for a living. And I want to be able to just do this for a living forever because, well, I have the best job in the world. When I was in college, Sylvia Browne was on Montel frequently. You guys remember Sylvia Browne. And I used to watch her show and watch the way she helped people, and I loved her a lot. And I used to always think, I wish I could do that. And when I found myself able to make a career out of my psychic gifts, it was a dream come true for me. I am doing exactly what I want to be doing. And then adding the podcast piece here on this radio station and also doing true crime have been another piece of that I've really, really enjoyed. I know not everybody gets to say that they have the job that they want, but I do. It's not the job I trained for. My degrees are in early childhood education and home economics education. So I guess I'll always be an educator in some ways, but and that's okay. I think that no education is wasted, right? No education is ever wasted because you will always, that becomes a part of who you are. It becomes a part of just how you function and what you do. So, but at any rate, I will always be at 12listen to help you out. Yeah. JR said she wants to put her first this year. Good for you, kid. You do that. Lillian said, I wish you all great happiness and love in 2025. Thank you, my friend. You as well. Well, guys, that's what I've got. So I'll be back next week. Same place, same time. We're going to hit the ground running and we're going to give 2025 the business, right? The business. Okay. Thanks so much for being here. Please take great care of yourselves. If you are going out tonight, please be safe and smart. If you're staying in, please be safe and smart. People get wild on New Year's Eve, so be all the safe and all the carefuls, please. All right, guys. Well, that's it. This has been yet another production of the Katie Weaver Show here on 1 2 Radio, where we're changing the way you listen to the world.